I decided I'm gonna block everybody, which is stupid. I'm gonna block everybody, and I'll tell you why. It's really stupid, but it's actually kind of smart, because nobody's really real, so why be deceived by people acting to be real when they're really not? Another thing is they'll create a false sense of self-worth, which is called ego. They inflate your ego, and I don't really need that, you know. And so, since I'm blocking you, because I even said, is anybody listening? And then of course I knew the computer would respond. So I know you're just a computer, so I'm gonna fuck with the computer back and just start blocking it, because it just blocks me anyways. And I think by blocking it will kind of make it say, hey, wait a minute, I'm not blocking them, they're blocking me. Hey, wait a minute, I actually blocked myself. I'm blocking myself.
It's a truth that God is with us. We are taking the scripture out of context to make it say what we would like it to say. As you research Matthew 18, verse 20, you see that this scripture is actually in reference to church discipline. And the scripture says, when 2 or 3 are gathered, and above it is talking about to make a decision based on church discipline, as 2 or 3 are gathered, then he is in our midst. So again, the biblical truth was correct. We have tended to take the scripture out of context to prove our point. So, how do we avoid this mistake in using scripture out of context? I think the answer to that comes in good exegetical practices. While this list is not exhaustive, this will give you some places to start as you begin to examine scripture. The first thing that we should examine is, who was the letter written to? Was it written to a church? Was it written to a group of Christians? Was it written to an individual? And what purpose did the letter going to those people or persons have? What was the author's intent for writing to that particular person or people group? The second thing that we should consider is, what was the historical situation surrounding the passage of Scripture? As we see in Hebrews 10:25, the historical context was the intense persecution. Had this verse been written in a time of peace and prosperity, it would have had a completely different meaning. But the historical situation helped shape the definition of this verse. The third thing we should look at is, who was the author? Was it Paul? Was it John? Was it unidentified? And by knowing who wrote the letter, we can help to...
The Romans created Christianity to control the masses, and that was a long fucking time ago, dude. And you're still brainwashed by brainwashing that's really fucking old. Wow, you're fucking brainwashed with kindergarten style brainwashing. We're talking like people that thought the world was fucking flat. You're brainwashed still by those people. Those people are really long dead, fucking dust, gone, dude. 1,000 years old. And you're fucking still preaching their brainwashing bullshit. Holy fuck, were those people geniuses back then. Like, if I can think of religion, create a statue of myself, make a big Roman weird-looking empire, they were something. Well, actually, Egyptians had religion. Religion is like old, tested, time, true brainwashing. And it makes perfect sense because people are lemmings. So if you were intelligent, I would totally believe in God if I was actually intelligent, because I could use it to manipulate the masses. Fucking brain exploded. Wow, it makes way too much sense. I can just pretend like I believe in God, and people will like me. That's it. I am grabbing my Bible right now, and I'm gonna fucking act like I really believe in that shit. And I'll make videos worshiping Satan and see if people are even smart enough to see the other shit. They're like, fuck him up. Like, I believe in God. And then in the next video I'll be like, cut myself, hell Satan. And they'll be like, call 911. He's scaring me, mommy. I guess that's why they have to censor me. Like, YouTube is a place where you can only be lobotomized. YouTube is a place where you can only express happiness. Maybe some other things, but not really. You can only be dumb and like a fucking idiocracy or something, you know? Am I not speaking clearly for you or something? Oh, that's right, I'm censored. Yeah.
Some of what they were trying to reflect in their writings. Well, how do we do that? The fourth thing we need to examine is, what does the author say in the rest of that particular work or in his other works? As we know, the Apostle Paul wrote the majority of the New Testament. So as we read books written by Paul, we not only need to compare what Paul says in that particular verse, in that particular chapter, in that particular book, but we also need to compare what the Apostle Paul wrote in the rest of his letters to the New Testament.
There was no Apostle Paul. That's not history. There's no history there. It's all fake. A history book is a history book. The Bible is not a history book. It never has been. It never will be. Every single story is fake and made up. And each one is more fake and made up than the next one before it. They're not history. And I'm really sad if you think that. If you actually think that something in the Bible has actually happened in real life, I'm sorry for you. That you were gullible enough to actually believe someone at some time that shit actually fucking happened. It never happened. You can believe whatever you want. You can believe pigs fly. The world's flat. I don't care. It doesn't exist. You can't prove God beyond a reasonable doubt. It's really fucking child's play, stupid bullshit, retard, lemming, lobotomy. Let's take our brains out and have an argument. Not an argument, a discussion. Let's just rip my brain right out and just slap it right up against the wall, and then let's have a discussion right then. As a book of God. Jesus. Flowers are made by God. Let me say it like this guy would say it.
We need to find if there are references, if there are...
Yeah, none of that shit exists. We need to find non-existent references. Sounds like a lot of fun work for you, finding non-existent references. Awesome, good for you. Sound like you're having a lot of fun there, dude.
Extensions on the concept that he was talking about.
Extensions on the concepts he was talking about. Extensions on lies. Lie to me more. Yes. That's what lemmings like. They like to be lied to, like right in their face. Like lies, and they're like, I like lies. Lies are truth. I mean, it's so blatant, in your face, obvious. People are like, I love lies. Lies are fun. I want lies. Here, have some of my lies. I'll regurgitate my lies and then lie to me. I like lies. And I'm like, they're like, why are you so truthful? It's like you're on truth serum. Why are you telling everybody the truth all the time? It's like, why are you a lie? Why do you live a lie? Why do you look like a lie? Why do you like lies so much? Why is that all that you ever do is tell a lie?
The author and the other works written by the same author. And finally, the last thing that we need to look at is... I'm a lemming. How does the scripture relate to the surrounding context?
I work at the same place for 25 years. Lemming. How does the Jesus and
Context, and also the rest of the Bible.
I am a gullible fucking loser, geek, pussyfootin' faggot. I am a gullible lemming. I believe every fucking thing that I'm told.
Many times, when we take a scripture out of context, if we would simply read above or below that scripture.
If our brain was above or below retard level, we might be okay, but instead we're just like,
Sure, we would find an explanation, and we would see how it relates to the overall theme of the author's work. Sometimes that requires reading a few extra verses.
You know, I'm a little mean to these people, but I know what these people's problem is. They haven't seen the internet yet. And if they do go on the internet, they ignore half the people there and just say, you're a test of my faith. Like, did you know that people that think there's God are lemmings? And your head is so thick, nothing else is getting in there to tell you why or how or what's really going on. Nothing gets in there. Somehow they planted the seeds of disinfo, and those sprouted into fucking fantasyland bullshit of Jesus and God and shit that doesn't exist. And you're going off into fantasy lands, and there's no God. That's a fantasy. Listen to George Carlin's song. They plant seeds of disinfo to sprout into fucking nonsense. And you have to believe the first lie. The first lie is there's a God. If you can believe that, every dumb bullshit thing that they can make up about that thing can only make more sense. So it's like opening a can of worms. It's like, do you believe in God? Yes. Okay, we'll get the can of worms, open it, and start throwing it all over the place and rubbing the worms on your face, and there you go. Now you're a gullible idiot. There you go. Worms in your face, crawling in your brains and shit. You're a gullible idiot. There you go. Perfect. Gotcha. Thanks. It's like the Benghazi lie. Like they do cover-ups to go to Benghazi to blow up some stuff, and then they don't even know. I don't give a fuck. I'm like every other zombie, incapable of giving a fuck. Even though I care, but there's 100,000 of these people. There's millions of these people. How am I going to stop them? That's like suicide. Like, if you tried to stop these people, not only do they kill you, they would fucking kill me too. Yeah, they're killing you. And that stuff, yeah. Guantanamo Bay and it's like, yeah, I would try to stop that. But they got you, they got me too. You're in a fucking cell every day getting the tube in your nose and you don't like it wishing. Yeah, they're basically doing the same thing to me. So I feel the same pain. But there's nothing we're gonna do. We live in a fucking prison planet full of zombies. You tell that to the cops, that stick the tube down their throat. Look at them and say, what makes you feel safe doing this to me? That's what I want you to do. If there is a God, He beamed a message to me, and He said, tell them this. He said, with your mouth, look at them in the face and say, do you feel safe doing this to me? And then God is going to come down at that moment, and He's going to stick the tube up their ass until the fluid's coming out your mouth. And He's going to say, things exist beyond your knowledge of this fucking world. And God doesn't exist for your pleasure, but for those people in Guantanamo Bay. And it's like that, when they sit there and say, I pray to God that I don't have to be here, that makes more sense to me than listening to like some lemming retard puke up a bunch of nonsense. It's like, at least they have something to pray for. They get tubes shoved up their fucking nose. That's why I think if there was a God, He'll come down to earth with the head of an owl. Big owl. Like a Bohemian Grove owl. Like they got the big Bohemian Grove owl statue. Like it'll come down and it's like God or Jesus, but it's in the form of an owl. And it'll eat the people that put the tube and help it, and the soldiers and the cops and the fucking and it'll eat them. Because that's what they're doing. They're eating the guy by sticking a tube up his nose, and they're like molesting his nose. They're like, yeah, you like that? But like going like all the way back, and they're like, like gagging him, you know? And they fucking get off on that shit, and that's what they're fucking doing, and that's our country that we live in. And these people are like, it's good to shove tube up your nose. It's liberal, we love you. And then they come in like, hop, 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 and they fucking like beat your fucking face in for nothing. Nothing. You didn't fucking do anything. And that's what I'm saying. That's you. That's what you're doing. And you feel safe because you're the one doing it to me. To them. Because you shoved the tube up the fucking guy's nose at Guantanamo Bay. You think you're safe from yourself. It's like, what the fuck makes you feel so safe? That was actually pretty funny. What was that? I guess that's this thing. I guess that's what people people feel safe. They're the ones shoving the tube up your nose, so they feel safe. Personally, I think that they're not. They just don't feel safe. That was really weird.